Towering buildings, structures all around our eyes can cover. There's no wonder how important and significant engineering is. But beneath its beauty and strength, a real and inseparable counterpart is existing: failure. Now come and join us as we build our journey of failure pursuit.
Yon, before i-conduct yung docu, talagang yung pinaka pinufokusan kong learning na makukuha is about sa materials. Ayun lang talaga yung naisip kong reason kung bakit nag-fail. Pero yun pala hindi. Parang sa docu na to, parang ayun yung learnings about what is really happening outside dun sa talagang iniisip ko pa lang.
So, ang ina-expect ko po before gawin tong documentary is marami akong knowledge na makukuha galing doon sa mga interviewin namin. Naparealize sila sa akin kung gaano kahalaga yung quality ng materials para sa isang project.
Before we conduct the interview, I expect tips, advice, or learning coming from the engineers we interview.
So my expectation for the documentary is that I knew that I was going to learn. I knew that going into this, I would learn structural integrity, the different types, and I would learn more about the geotechnical stuff.
Ang expectation ko lang sa maging documentary natin is maayos. Dahil marami akong napapanood na documentary. Like katulad nung about sa Rizal, yung about kay Rizal na yung documentary. Ganun din sana yung parang iniisip ko na maraming makakapag-explain ng kailangan natin para sa mismong documentary. Katulad ng mga sa materials about sa mga engineers na pinag-interview natin. Yun yung nakikita kong medyo maayos, napakaganda talaga.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, during the Dagupan earthquake, there were so many structures that collapsed, single story or three-story structure. Recently, the structural code specifies stricter rules on those areas which are susceptible to liquefaction.
Wala pa ako na-experience na nagpipail kasi nga yun ay dumaan sa planning. Pero meron kaming mga projects na ginawa ng LA Global. Ano naman yun? Iba ang gumawa nun. Ni-retrofit lang namin. Kumbaga, ni-re-strength lang namin. Kumbaga, pinatibay lang namin yung kagaya nung yung 10-story dun sa sa EDSA. Pagka naglalakad lang o nagsusumba yung mga tao, gumagalaw yung building. So, ang ginawa namin ay ni-retrofit yun. Nilagyan ng 2 shear wall kabilaan para ma-eliminate o ma-minimize na yung paggalaw ng Yun lang naman yung mga ginagawang remedy para mapatibay yung building.
Wala kasi nung nakagraduate ako, wala pa ako na experience na gano'n.
Wala pa po.
Wala talaga eh.
Wala po.
Oo, kaya gulat ako eh, nakatakot. Although meron naman nung estudyante ako, meron din dun sa amin eh, nangyari yan eh. Pero hindi ganun. Hindi ganun ka-abrupt o biglaan. Meron din ganung tumagilid na building. O lang yun, 4-story lang ata yun. Alam din ni dad mo yun eh.
Yes po.
4-story din lang yun eh. Pero nagsettle din siya. Pero dahan-dahan. Hindi siya biglaan. Siguro years din ang dumaan bago namin nahalata na tumagilid na rin pala yung building.
Years na rin.
Oo, years na rin.
Substandard material really the reason why structure fails?
There are so many reasons why a structure fails. Not only based on the inferior materials or substandard material. During the 1990 or 1991 earthquake in Pangasinan, there is what we call liquefaction phenomena. Liquefaction phenomena because during earthquake, the soil could lose its strength and subsides or settles. The other factor that could make the structure collapse is the under design factor. This is the case when the design is insufficient to carry the load of the superstructure against any load like seismic load or earthquake activity. If the structure is built near the body of water, and if the soil is composed of silty to sandy composition, the soil when an earthquake occurs would tend to liquefy, and therefore those areas are said to be liquefiable. And these are near the bodies of water.
Hindi magkakaroon ng ano. Kasi ang designer naman, hindi lang naman yung lupa ang i-consider niya doon.
Opo.
Consider niya doon lagi, syempre yung earthquake,
Yes.
lalo na, wind, tsaka yung ibang natural disaster natin,
Opo.
kagaya sa sunog, tsaka yung bagyo. Siyempre, ang pinaka-ano dyan, earthquake. Pag matibay yung isang structure sa earthquake, kaya niya na rin yung iba. Yun lang naman ang mga disaster na laging dumadaan sa atin.
Opo.
There are two parts of the structure: the superstructure and the foundation. So, if the foundation is weak, and so with the superstructure, the one above the ground, it all comes first with the design.
Comes first.
The designer must choose the appropriate design for the type of soil and for the type of occupancy. If the design is adequate, then there's no risk for the structure to collapse if the design is adequate. And the other,
Ganun kataas, masyado nang mabigat, dapat may geotechnical engineering na tinatawag dyan,
Opo.
or soil testing, para malaman ng natin yung capacity ng lupa na kaya niyang buhatin.
Yes po. So ganun po pala dapat yung kailangan na gawin.
Kaya sa ngayon, bago ka magtayo ng structure ngayon,
Opo.
kailangan mo na talagang may soil testing.
May soil testing po muna talaga.
Hindi kagaya kasi nung panahon, wala pa eh.
Na basta po mag-design.
Basta lang mai-decide, hindi rin inaalam yung capacity ng soil. Yun ang unang step. Dapat i-soil test mo muna bago ka mag-design.
Soil test muna, bago mag-design.
Oo, hindi design tapos soil test. Hindi.
Soil test.
Dapat soil testing muna kasi hindi madi-design kagaya kay papa mo. Hindi niya madi-design kung hindi niya alam yung soil bearing capacity ng lupa.
Yes.
Saka siya magdi-design
Opo.
ng structure.
So, kailangan ma-hit mo yung pinakamatigas. Kaya nga nagkakaroon tayo ng soil test, yung soil investigation. Kasi from 3-story above, required na kasi yung soil test. Ito kasi equivalent ito ng 4-story. So, ni-required talaga ito ng soil test para malaman kung gaano kung nasaan na yung lalim na pinakamatigas nito na dapat abutin yung nung foundation mo. So, ganun yun. Kaya ito ay dinesign, bago gawin yung design, kailangan magkaroon muna ng soil investigation. Nasaan ba yung pinakamalalim na matigas na. So, ganun yun. Ito ay, dahil ito ay Pasig, malapit sa ilog, 15 meters yung lalim na matigas. So, yun yung yun yung kailangan namin i-attain yung lalim ng pundasyon ng micropiling.
Lalo na kung ang lupa malapit talaga sa ilog or sa dagat,
Yes.
Kaya kagaya nung isang project ni Papa mo na kagawan nga ng 36 story, malapit sa Pasig River yun eh.
Yes po.
Kaya ang nag-design nun si Papa mo, ang ginawa niya, naglagay siya ng board pile para
Board file.
ma-hit
Tama.
yung pinakamatigas. Kasi pag malapit ka sa mga ganyan, waterways, laging prone ang isang structure sa settlement.
Opo.
Laging may katabing tubig yan eh.
Opo.
Yung structural designer nun, hindi bumase dun sa integrity ng soil.
Opo.
Kung kaya niya yung ganun.
Kung kaya niyo yung ganong
Tao lang, di ba? So ano ang pinakamabilis? Micropiling. So ginamitan namin ng micropiling to. Micropiling. So yun yung isa sa mga technology ng LA Global na nag-micropile kami, pile cap, tapos tinatayo namin yung post. Di ba? So ibig sabihin kasi yung 15 meters, no? Negative 15, yun yung matigas. Matigas na yun. Kaya itong ano na hindi na to para mag-settle, hindi na to para lumubog. Oo. Kasi pagka lumulubog, tumatagilid na yung building mo.
The liquefaction phenomenon. Even if it is only a 2-story, I recommend micropile or
micropiling.
the deep foundation. But it is since it is a micropile, it has a smaller diameter. It has a smaller diameter deep structure than board pile. The board pile is the one we used in high-rise building, in MRT, LRT projects that need bigger foundation. Yeah. It's micropile has a smaller diameter pile with say about 12 inches in diameter only. Up to 12 inches.
Up to 12 inches.
Sabi mong ano to, matibay to. Ilang lindol na to? 3 lindol na yata o 4. Pero kung titingnan nyo, wala kayong makikita mga cracks dyan. Ibig sabihin ito, na-design ng maayos to. Mula foundation. Ang foundation kasi nito, 15 meters below the ground. Dahil malambot yung lupa. Hindi ka naman po pwedeng maghukay ng 15 meters below the ground na tao lang, di ba? So ano ang pinakamabilis? Micropiling. So ginamitan namin ng micropiling to.
In construction, there are about 2 phases. Design phase and construction phase. During the design stage, a designer could design the structure using any material that would best fit or best use for the construction. Like
After ng design, kung structure lang, diba, ma-design niya na, papa-quantify kung ilan ang quantity nung na-design niya.
Yung price.
Oo. Hindi lang price kung ilan talaga, diba? Ilang volume ng concrete, ilan ng kilograms ng bakal,
Yes po.
tapos kung sino ang gagawa, ilang equipments ang nandyan, kailangan. Yun ang mga steps nun.
Yes po.
Kasi hindi lang naman kasi structural o civil engineer ang nandyan,
Yes po.
maraming engineers ang nandyan eh. Ang unang-una pa dyan, syempre architect.
Yes po.
Siya ang pinakauna dyan na siya ang magde-design nung aesthetics nung structure.
Yes po.
Tapos papasok ang structural engineer.
like in the Philippines, we have 2 materials which are commonly used. The first is the reinforced concrete. Reinforced concrete is a concrete material with reinforcing bars, the steel that reinforces the concrete. The second material is
Yes, oo, depende yun sa mga materials na na ginagamit. Ito kasing simbahan, ang ginamit namin dito lalo na doon sa mula foundation. Basta yung buong superstructure niyan, ang materyales nito ay halimbawa sa konkreto, hindi siya job mix. Talagang in-order namin siya sa isang batching plant. Tapos yung lahat ng bakal na ginamit dito, hindi namin binili sa mga hardware lang. Binili namin talaga ito sa
Opo.
Kailangan mong malaman kung anong size ng bakal, kung ilan yung volume ng concrete na ilalagay mo doon sa structure.
Yes po.
O hindi lang basta sabihin natin na ganitong piraso ng bakal, ganito lang kahaba, ganito ang size. Kaya dapat i-design muna yon ng structural engineer base rin dun sa structure at dun sa foundation na gagawin natin.
Opo.
Kasi hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin na ganito lang ang size niyan, ganyan. Minsan naman pag hindi
The second material is the structural steel, or in the form of MS plate, or in the form of I-beam. So these are two materials that could be used by a designer. That's why it is very important to use first what material which is available locally or can be used without delay during construction.
Okay.
binili namin talaga ito sa manufacturer. Yung Pag-asa Steel, doon namin binili. Kasi ang bakal na ginamit namin dito ay grade 60. Yung kasing nabibili mo sa hardware, grade 33. So ang laki ng pagkakaiba. Ang requirements kasi ay grade 60. So kung wala ka makukuha sa hardware, direkta ka na sa planta. So ganun ang ginawa namin dito. Direkta lahat sa planta. Tapos yung haba kasi ng mga bakal nito, ang mabibili mo sa hardware kasi, pinakamahaba doon 6 meters. Pero ito meron kaming 12 meters, meron kaming 15, meron kaming 10.5, meron kaming 9. Kaya yung splicing ng mga bakal nito halos dalawa lang. Ganun kahaba yung ginamit namin dito na bakal. Tapos yung sa mga stirrup niya, yung ties, ang ginamit namin dito ay grade 40.
Can you explain how does materials be considered as substandards?
Let's say if during the design stage, one designed say 5,000 psi as reinforced concrete material, then during construction, the contractor uses only say about 3,000, then it is substandard. If the designer specifies say the roofing material to be 0.6 mm in thickness and the contractor uses only 0.4 mm, then that is substandard also. So only the owner and the designer could decide which one is substandard, because the contractor could use any, but if nobody checks on his work, then he could use inferior material or substandard materials. But if there's somebody who could check on his work, then the material must be the one based on the design. Always. Yeah.
Always. Okay. So,
Yung dalawang building na doon sa Tagaytay, dalawang 8-story yun, nakatayo na siya. Pero nung nag-investigate kami, sa plano kasi ang requirements ay 6,000 PSI yung mga strength, concrete strength, Pero ang nangyari, naging 3,000 PSI. So ibig sabihin, masyadong mababa yung strength ng konkreto. Kaya ang nangyayari, kung mapapansin mo yung building, ang dami niyang mga hairlines, ang dami niyang mga crack. So, failure yun yung ganon. Ang hirap kasing, lalo na kung yung titira doon, wala siyang idea sa construction. Kumbaga, basta lang siya titira doon, baka matakot siya. Magkaroon siya ng worry. Bakit ganito tong building na to? So, yung mga ganon, yun yung ginagawa ng solusyon. Kumbaga, nire-retrofit yun para tumibay yung, yung building. So yun yung mga possible remedy. Oo.
Bale po dito kayo, Leo, yung price.
Sometimes commercial buildings could be used as storage. Sometimes commercial buildings could be used as parking areas. So the change of load could be a factor also. Yes. And the occupancy for commercial areas are higher than the residential areas. Let's say, for example, residential areas could require only 1.92 kilopascal for the live load, and the minimum for commercial areas is only about is higher than 1.92. It's about 2.4 kilopascal up to 4.8. 4.8 kilopascal is about 100 pounds per square foot.
Dapat magkaroon ka muna ng study. Unang-una, feasible ba to na po pwede mong gawing commercial? Kasi unang-una, yung kasing structure mo, baka naman hindi sufficient yung tibay niya para gawin mong commercial. Lalo na kung ito ay single story lang o bungalow lang siya, tapos at the end of the day gagawin mo siyang two story. Yung structure kasi niyan, hindi yun naka-design para maglagay ka ng ganito. So risky din yun, mahirap din naman gawin yun na dapat diyan ay pinag-aaralan mo na yan. Diyan papasok yung mga engineering services. Yung
ano niya, yung ginawa ng architect dapat pasok din dun sa structural na gagawin ng structural engineer. Tsaka susunod yung iba. Yung iba naman dyan, sumusunod na lang
Sumusunod ka agad.
Sumusunod lang, kagaya ng mga electrical engineers, ng sanitary engineers, sumusunod na lang yan
Yes.
sa structure.
Sa mga nagdaang interview natin, ang natutunan ko is kung ay may mga iba't ibang materials na kailangan mga commonly used na ginagamit sa structure, kung paano ito mapapatibay, at nalaman ko din dito na dahil na rin sa design kung bakit nag-fail ang isang structure or kung paano ito napapatibay, at mas maganda tayo na mag-invest tayo sa mas expensive na mga materials kasi sa mga mumurahing materials, kasi pag nag-invest tayo sa mas mahal na materials, mas mapapatibay pa yung structure doon. And as a future engineer, ma-apply ka to if
So what I've learned in the documentary is that planning is really important, and there are layers to it. It's just not one whole thing. Knowing about the soil, knowing about the materials that's going to be used, and the structure. And planning is like the most important step for this, because given the situations like the SAI building collapsing, that's because of substandard materials. So I've also learned that it's really important to use high quality materials and not just substandard materials, because it can affect your building's structural integrity. So what I can apply these learnings as a future civil engineer by following the engineer's code and being true to use high quality materials, and to understand the soil, the geotechnical part of the structure, and all.
So, yung pinaka natutunan ko talaga dito is that yung structural integrity is not just about sa materials. Mas, ayun yung learning ko talaga na parang hindi natin napagkukusan is yung sa geotech. Kasi sinabi doon talaga na importante yung foundation, yung connection ng footings ng foundation at sa ilalim, at saka ng lupa. Yun. Kaya maraming struggles when it comes dun sa ng lupa. Ganyan. So, ayun yung isang learning ko. Pangalawa is yung yung integrity, yung structure integrity is not just integrity ng structure. Integrity din yun ng ng engineer. Kasi kapag yung integridad ng engineer is mataas, yung engineer is i-make sure niya na yung structure niya is tatayo ng matatag at failure will not just come up na parang it happens ganyan. So, ayun. So as a civil engineer, as a future civil engineer, na-inspire ako na magtayo ng mga structures na talagang can withstand different disaster, different failure factors na magagamit talaga siya ng civilian nang magagawa niya yung purpose niya as a structure. So yun, next.
Wait, go na? Okay. So, ayun, ang natutunan ko sa buong documentary is kung gaano ka-importante ang isang foundation sa structure. Like, according doon sa mga interviewees na nakuha namin, ang foundation, yung importance niya is kahit gaano kaganda yung structure mo, kung hindi naman maganda yung way mo ng pagkakagawa ng foundation, wala rin siyang kwenta. Pero naintindihan ko rin na dapat ang gagamitin na materials kapag gagawa is dapat kahit hindi dapat siya tinitipid. Dapat may nakalagay talaga na funds para dun sa project na yon para ma-make sure na yung project hindi siya mag-fail. Kasi once na tinipid mo siya, yung quality ng materials, kahit gaano kaganda yun, kung hindi talaga siya fit para dun sa structure na gusto mong itayo, mag-fail din siya in the end. Ma-apply ko lahat ng natutunan ko dito sa process ng paggawa ng documentaries. Feeling ko kapag nag-work na ako as a civil engineering. Kasi
Deep in the abyss of failure, we can find solutions and reasons for greater and stronger integrity. From the bottom of the responsibility of engineers to their higher role in societal improvement and progress, we can find strength. There's no doubt that integrity begets strength. Weakness builds failure. Thank you for watching, and here we finally conclude our failure pursuit.